Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is the live debate with the representatives of the candidates for the Department Council, one from BLab, Lorenzo Vergani, and one from team, Maria Francesca Martini. Remember that this debate is live, but you can also watch it later on this same YouTube channel, or you can read the resume on the Tre Leoni website. Tonight at 6:30 p.m. Remember that we will host another debate for the undergraduate school, and yes, if you are interested in any particular council or committee, you can always go on Bocconi TV's Instagram page and check when we will host the correspondent debate here on YouTube. So now I will leave each of you 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and yes, you can start maybe Maria Francesca.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Giulia. Thank you, Bocconi TV, for hosting the debate. My name is Maria Francesca Martini. Sorry if it is long. I am now attending third year BM, where I am class rep, and I come from Sardinia. I have a lot of different interests. To be honest, it is kind of difficult to sum them up in 2 minutes, but I'm really passionate about art in general. For this reason, in Bocconi, I joined the Culturit, which is a consulting association, and it has been an amazing experience. I have also been president of this association. At the same time, I actually have a lot of other interests, such as politics, economics, and I decided to join team only this year, but I am actually really proud of this choice, and I really want to put my effort into helping other students, as I've always liked to do, helping people when I can. So Lorenzo, you go.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. I would like, first of all, to thank Bocconi TV for this opportunity. I am Lorenzo Vergari. I am 21 years old and come from Treviso. Currently, I am attending the 3rd year of law, CLMG. I am class representative and I am candidate for BLab to the Department Council, so I Dipartimenti, for Ashraf to the Board of Directors. And before saying something about myself, I would like to spend a few words about my list, BLab, because I'm here talking not only by myself, but also on behalf and in representation of all the other BLab candidates to the Department Council. In BLab, we are a team, a big and great team, and we have behind us a history of experience and expertise, of dreams and ideals that guide us towards our objectives, but also of practical and concrete results. We did a great teamwork to define this program, so it's a pleasure for me to be here to try to explain it. As regards myself, I can say that one of the passions that I try to cultivate in Bocconi, besides representation, is associationism. For example, I am a member of Corporate Law Academy and Bocconi Students Against Organized Crime, where I can share with others my interest for corporate law and for the fight against organized crime. I am also member of 2 Bocconi official legal journals, which are Bocconi Legal Papers and the online journal on comparative and European public law. Finally, I also love literature and music. For example, I won the 3rd prize of the National Poetry Contest organized by Bocconi d'Inchiostro, and I studied the classical piano and played in 2 bands of pop rock and blues, soul, funk music. That's
okay. All. Okay, thank you both. So now we can start going over your programs, and we will begin with a macro topic, which is the COVID-19 issue. What are the new features implemented by Bocconi to face the emergency that you would like to maintain after the pandemic, and in what form? So maybe now we can start with BLab and then Maria Francesca can go.
Okay, thank you. COVID-19 pandemic surely has caused a lot of problems in universities and in teaching. We all have seen these problems as students. However, I think that it also have taught us something on the way lessons are made. For example, it has taught us that a greater flexibility is possible in the didactics. So we would like to maintain and improve this greater flexibility also after COVID, obviously in presence of proven necessities. For example, we propose to have the possibility to follow lessons in distance for certain categories of students, in particular those who have particularly particular situations, for example, students with serious illness, or those who are carrying out internship or exchange, or also students who play sport at a competitive level. We also wanted to give access to recorded lessons, also after COVID, for those subjects which are sufficiently complex to require a rewatch of the lesson. These subjects would have to be determined by students' representatives and approved by the committee of the course, obviously. We also would like to create virtual classrooms for students in depth, because, for example, often it happens that students in depth are in a low number and it is not possible to create a physical class. So we would like to create virtual classrooms with lessons that are pre-recorded, so recorded in advance, so that students in depth can follow these lessons. Finally, we would like to maintain the tutorials, the pre-exam tutorials online, so that the students have not to go on campus specifically during the session. These are our proposals.
Okay, for what concerns teams, yeah, despite the fact that the pandemic has been awful and it actually has been like creating a totally diverse environment at university, and it's been a difficult time for everyone. We believe it actually helped Bocconi to make progresses on a lot of fields. For example, in our last elections, we proposed to increase the number of group assignments, individual assignments, to post more online on Blackboard, more material on Blackboard, sorry. And this actually has been done since the pandemic and due to the pandemic. So we do believe that Bocconi will go through this line. And we also have an important point on recorded lectures. In fact, since Bocconi made a lot of investments, we believe it will be fundamental to keep recording each class. However, we understand the importance of like going to classes physically. So we also believe that these recordings should be available only to certain categories of people. This will be fundamental with people with illness, with maybe that go through a difficult time at home because of bereavement, mental and psychological wellness, as well as for students on internship that maybe mostly for, this is a problem also very strong for the graduate school, since they have to do, students have to do internship often in the academic semester. So we want to grant them the possibility to follow courses in order to better the learning experience, even if they are actually carrying forward an internship, as well as for students on exchange that maybe have to follow Bocconi courses. So we actually believe this is a fundamental point, and we will actually really focus and be focused on this and work a lot on this point.
Great. Another focus of both your programs are teacher evaluations and also thesis advisors evaluations and their transparency in evaluating our exams. So what are your suggestions for what concerns the paper shows and teacher evaluations? Maria Francesca, you can start.
Okay. About this, we really believe that transparency is fundamental, and we have a few points on this. First of all, we would like that at the start of every course, students will be allowed to see mean, median, statistics in general for the course. This will not be an issue for privacy. Some courses already do it. So we would like to homogenize all this process, as well as to supply students with syllabus and mock exams still since the start of the course. Another issue that we saw during the pandemic is the difference in the way to carry forward paper shows. We believe that all students should be allowed to have a plenary session where, they can see how was the correct way to do the exam, and everyone could access to it. And then also allow students to have always a face-to-face confrontation with professor in order to make actually them understand their mistakes and do better in the future. We believe this is also a fundamental part of the learning process. And finally, teaching evaluation. About this, we do believe that Bocconi is doing a great job with all the surveys they are already providing us with. But we propose to introduce another survey that is going to be done in between the exam and the communication of the grade. This survey has the aim to assess the coherence among the syllabus, the program covered in class, the materials, and also the exam, of course, because sometimes students filling the evaluation still don't actually have a 360 degrees view of the program. So we do believe that this will actually help Bocconi to even do better with evaluation, and also to make some courses better.
Okay, Lorenzo, you can go.
Okay, thank you.
Same question.
For what regards the evaluations, we generally want to increase the number and the quality of evaluations, because this is the way in which students can make their voice heard in didactics. So firstly, we want to introduce a questionnaire to evaluate the examination methods, because now we can evaluate only the lessons and the teaching, but maybe the exams is in a different way. And so we have the interest to evaluate also the methods of the examination. This questionnaire would have to be completed, obviously, at the end of the session. We want to add an evaluation about the level of language proficiency of teachers, because there are courses that are, for example, taught in English, and maybe the language level of the teachers is not always so high. So it is right that students can evaluate their level. Also, for what regards the thesis and final papers, we would like to introduce an evaluation questionnaire, and also to create a help desk dedicated to reporting the behavior of professors which are maybe not so compliant, so the so-called ghost professors. The second point that regards the paper shows, we would like to introduce a more stringent deadlines for teachers to publish the exam marks, because often it happens that professors publish exam marks late, for example, after 2 weeks since the exam took place. So they have to do it earlier. And also the paper show has to be characterized by more guarantees. So the date must be fixed in advance. There must be no overlap between different didactics activities, and there must be the possibility for students to choose between attending a physical paper show or an online paper show if they are not physically on campus.
Great, thank you. By the way, just wanted to remind to everyone who is following us live that if they have any questions, they can ask, and we will answer at the end of the debate. You can ask in the chat. Okay, let's go. Let's talk about a problem that I guess every student has faced at least once in his university years, which is the issue of misalignments between deadlines to register to exams and the delays that in marking these exams. For example, I think it's quite common to have to register to an exam without yet knowing the assignments grade or the group project grades, or maybe having to cancel the registration to an exam for serious reasons, and not being able to, because then the student would have to attend the general exam. So that's an issue. What are your suggestions to overcome this problem? Yes, you can start again.
Okay. As regards this problem, I think that I could firstly recall what I have said before. So the deadlines for teachers to publish exam marks, because this deadline would be valid not only for final marks, but also for assignment marks and teamwork marks, so that it is no longer possible that a student has to enroll for a final exam without knowing the mark of an assignment or of a teamwork. More generally, we would like to have more flexible appeals for students that have particular situations. For example, in the case of students who are hospitalized, we wanted to introduce an extraordinary appeal, an ad hoc appeal for them. And also, this could be generalized through a standard procedure to other cases similar to that. As regards the oral exams, for example, this is a problem specifically for law. We wanted to divide the oral exams in shifts so that students know in advance the time in which they will be examined.
Okay, I go. So this is also a very important point for us. I will start with the timing, because I think with COVID, Bocconi increased the number of individual assignments, group assignments. So we found that even more in the situation of not knowing the grade of like 60% of the exam before subscribing. So we can't actually make a really helpful choice. We are gonna work on this, and we believe this is fundamental. Grades must be grades for individual and group assignment, as well as for partial exam when it is the case, even if it is more limited, must be published in a time reasonable to allow students to actually book their exam with all the knowledge of their assignments, of the grade of their assignment. Then the other issue is the unsubscription for exam, which is partially correlated. And we really believe this is one of the most important points of our program, because sometimes students find themselves in a really difficult and extreme situation. We actually also learned this with COVID. If a person finds to have COVID or like another contagious illness, cannot actually go and attend the exam, or it will put actually in a difficult situation other students maybe. So we do believe it is fundamental to have a defined procedure that maybe could be done through having contact or other tools on USB, to allow students that for physical illness, mental and psychological problem, or even bereavement, which are awful, can actually just unsubscribe from the exam without losing the grade of the partial, or maybe the status of attending or non-attending after a semester. And finally, still related to this, we also propose to have an extra exam session. This is actually also really in line with the idea of Bocconi being an international institution, as well, since many international universities that are really highly ranked actually allow students to have an extra session if they have some serious and long time illness that does not allow them to take exam. The problem is kind of obvious, like if a person is sick for a few weeks in the hospital, actually cannot take the exam for the whole session, and recovering may be really difficult, and that person may be forced to have to finish his or her degree even like maybe a semester later than other students, because it is really difficult to just run with with like 6 exams.
Okay, thank you. I see that more or less you agree on this answer. So let's change the topic completely and let's talk about ECDL and language certifications. What are their problems and what should be improved about certifications?
I go first. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we decided to focus mostly on language certificates, such this is like common to both to undergraduate, graduate, and law school, because like there are still some issues on the coherence in the transformation of external certification in Bocconi grades. The aim is that actually the Bocconi way of grading exams will be consistent with the common European framework of reference on language courses. So basically on C1, B1 level, etc. Since now actually students taking an external exam may find them in a disadvantage compared to those taking the internal exam.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So you can go.
Yes, for what regards ECDL, so both ECDL and language certificates are areas in which there have been a lot of problems, especially during the COVID pandemic, as we all know. For ECDL, we wanted to facilitate the obtaining of the ECDL, for example, by increasing the number of slots to obtain ECDL exams, because they have shown to be too low in order to allow all the students to obtain it. And also we propose to include the costs of ECDL modules within the Bocconi tuition. As we know, we pay an amount of money to Bocconi as tuition, and we think that it is a measure of equality and rationality to propose that that the costs of ECDL modules are included within this tuition. For the language certification, we would like to introduce an assessment, as I have said before, of the language level of the teachers who teach in English. We also want to obtain the recognition of TOEFL Home Edition certification. In the past weeks, there was the problem that many students made the TOEFL Home Edition due to COVID, but this was not recognized by many universities. Now we want it to be recognized. And we want also to increase the number of places available in courses aimed to achieve the DELF and the DELE certifications. Another proposal is that of introduce an extension for achieving ECDL certification for the current academic year, because on the one hand, there was the cancellation of the face-to-face sessions for ECDL, but on the other hand, the online sessions were suddenly full. So it is right to introduce this extension to achieve ECDL in this current academic year.
Okay, thank you very much. And let's talk about yet another topic that you both included in your programs, which is the possibility to introduce a trial period, let's say, for elective courses. What can you say about it? And Lorenzo, you start again.
Okay. We think that something that can be very useful for every student is the possibility to attend a first introductory lesson for the compulsory elective courses. This would facilitate the way in which students have to choose between these courses. It is sufficient to think about the BM or BF, in which in the third year, 4 out of 5 exams are compulsory elective courses. Or for example, in CL and G in law, in the first year, students have to choose between finance and economics, and so on. So I think that it could be very useful to have a first introductory lessons that students can see before the decision. For what regard master degrees, we also wanted to optimize the way in which the optional exams are chosen. For example, we think that it is not just not right to have a first come, first served method, so that the student who clicks before the others obtain the place in the course, and maybe another student is left outside the course. We think that a more meritocratic method can be applied. For example, an auction mode, as it happens in the best universities abroad. And we also would like to introduce a number of places in each optional reserved to the students who are enrolled in the major near to that exam.
Okay, yeah. We also would like to propose to introduce a switching period. Briefly, this will work like we choose our electives, and then we have a week where we can actually attend classes and see if actually that elective is what we were expecting. Because sometimes maybe syllabus are not so clear, or like we didn't really realize what we were doing. So the idea is to then allow, after the first week of classes, where students actually can follow all more than one class, to open again the didactic plan and change their preferences. We believe this will be a great opportunity for students to actually find the perfect match between student and elective, because I mean, sometimes the name may be misleading, and maybe just students can actually like see how the course is out and see that that is not their thing. We also believe this will be helpful in solving a little bit the problem of people choosing courses a bit randomly and taking places in the like course that are more popular, and then not letting students that are really willing to do that course taking it. In this way, in fact, if a student sees that, yeah, I mean, that is the popular course, but I'm not really interested, that students can actually unsubscribe and leave the place, leave the spot to a person that is actually more motivated. So, I mean, we think that other universities use this method abroad in like almost everywhere. And we believe this is a great way to improve the learning process, and also to allow students to really have a plan of study that is actually a bit more personalized than what we actually have, which is actually really a lot because we can choose a lot of electives.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from a viewer who says, do you think that a buddy program for the freshmen would be helpful?
Can I go?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Oh, no, sorry, maybe. Oh,
no, yeah, should be your turn, but whoever wants to.
Yeah, that is a point in our program, and we know that a buddy program is being done in the graduate school. However, there are very few places and few spots. We would like to introduce and extend this program to all the schools. This will be available for freshmen, but also for other students, since a buddy can help also not only for preparing the exam, but also like in finding like an internship, or where to go and work, or how to choose your Master of Science. We believe that buddy program will be a really great opportunity also to strengthen the sense of community, even among students which maybe come from different countries. It will be very helpful for international students that sometimes kind of find difficult to adapt to Italian university, as we have a very different method. So we actually trust that a buddy program is fundamental, and it will totally be an upgrade. Moreover, another thing is that we also believe that since there is a strong sense of community among Bocconi students and also alumni, there will be a lot of people interested in being like buddy or mentor, we can call it in any way. Because like as now there are a lot of people interested in being representative, so we also think that many students will be really happy to help younger fellows.
Okay, thank you. If you, Lorenzo, want to say something, or
yes, I can say that a buddy program for the freshmen surely could be the best way to welcome matricles before they come to Milan, because each of us has experimented that the first approach to a new city and a new university and a new field of study can be difficult. So having an older friend or companion who can lead us in the first steps of our new way could be very helpful. Actually, as B-Lab, we are always near to the freshmen, to the new students of Bocconi. It was also my personal experience to be helped and guided by older students belonging to B-Lab. So this is surely a great possibility.
Okay, perfect. We have 2 more questions, so let's go quickly. Do you think that will be possible to keep the in-distance teaching system also for those closed number courses? If I cannot go to class, maybe I can attend from home. To whoever.
Do you want to go, Lorenzo?
Yes, could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
If you think that it would be possible to keep in-distance teaching system also for those closed number courses. Yes, so closed number courses
I think
in distance.
Okay.
Are they referring to like elective with limited places?
I guess so, because we were talking about elective.
Yeah.
So yes. So even if we don't have many students attending, still be like courses that you can attend, but in distance.
Yes, I think surely it is possible. It is always a question of dialogue with the university, but this is a possibility that can make the best interest of the students, especially in this period in which not everyone is on campus, and nonetheless the right to attend lessons and the right to have the best experience possible of university must be guaranteed. So surely we will fight for this possibility to maintain, as I also said before, the in-distance method of lessons possible for every course if the student is not physically on campus, and especially if the student has a particular situation that prevents him or her from being physically on campus.
Yeah, same. Like, I do believe that this will be the main issue of dialogue with the university. Like, we already, as class representative, have been talking about this with course director. And I personally do believe that it is fundamental for Bocconi to exploit the investment they have done in all the infrastructure that allow them to record classes. So maybe it will be also value added for these elective courses where the places, the spots are limited, and this will allow some students that otherwise will not have the possibility to follow the course. So we will certainly actually also talk about all these possibilities, or maybe I would also say it will be even a chance for Bocconi to introduce other courses, maybe because like some professors, even if are abroad, they could actually take classes online. So we will see how the dialogue goes, how Bocconi feel about doing more online lesson even after COVID, but it's really interesting and important to talk about this.
Okay, the other question is only to Lorenzo, and they're asking why limiting the trial period only for curricular electives and not for all of them, all electives?
Okay, so this gives me the possibility to specify that these proposals about the trial period is a proposals that thinks about a pre-recorded lesson in which the professor gives an introduction to the subject and presents the more important topics that he or her that he or she will talk about during the course. And so surely this could be possible for every course that the students must choose between. So the fact that it can be a recorded lessons and an introductory lesson before the student choose the course make it possible for every type of course.
Okay, I hope, I think you explained it well. So we are approaching the end of this debate. So now if any of you wants to say something that he or she didn't get the chance to say before, if you want to sum up your programs, or even better, if you want to ask something to the other candidates, you can do it now.
If you want, I can, Lorenzo, I can go first.
Yes, surely.
Okay. So I would like to bring up a point that has not been mentioned, but we as a team believe it is part of our long-term and ambitious goal. We would like to introduce the possibility for students to refuse a grade during their course. Like in this case, it will be once for undergraduate, once for graduate, and twice for the law school, of course, divided in 3 and 2 years. We believe that this is fundamental, as it actually students have a lot of pressure on their performance, and this brings also a lot of mental problems, which we really care about. We believe, in fact, that actually letting students to refuse, retake an exam is not going to be a problem in with respect to timing. That is the most important point for Bocconi, since it is only one. And students will actually, however, have the chance to not always feel so much under pressure. We do understand it is part of the job market, and we are actually learning how to live in society. But we also believe that also our well-being is very important. So it will be a chance, and students will actually really think well before using it, of course, since it is only a one-shot possibility. But we actually do believe that this is fundamental, and we are going to work on this. It is a bit of an innovative, maybe for Bocconi, they introduced it in the summer session, and I don't think it will be so easy to do it again, but we have 2 years, so we really hope to work on this.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to stress some important points that maybe I had not the possibility to mention.
Sure.
Firstly, we propose a constructed grade in a general way, so that the final grade is made not only by the final exam, but also it is made of the assignments, of the group works, of the participation in the class, etc. So we would like to spread and generalize this type of grade. We also want to realize a status of attending student in a more flexible way, so that, for example, the discrimination between attending and the non-attending student must be no longer based on the presence in the classroom, but it has to be based on, for example, the assignments or the teamworks. And another thing about this point is that we want to maintain the status of attending student and the grades of assignments, even if the students decide to do the general exam. Another possibility that we want to put forward is called the RESIT, and it is the possibility to take a single exam, to retake again a single exam during your academic course. This happens in a lot of European universities, and we think that if it is limited by the constraint that this is possible only if it does not imply an of-course degree, then it is possible and very useful. And a final point, general point that I would like to stress is the final end of our work. We are talking about didactics, so lessons, exams, paper shows, because this is precisely what the department council, to which I am candidate, takes care of. However, we have not to forget that this is only a part of a student's life, which is made also by other important aspects, such as friendship, sports, relations, music. So with COVID, the risk is that the students spend all their time studying and watching lessons, and maybe feeling guilty if they do something else. And this could be a source of psychological discomfort. So it is very important to stress that the final aim, the final end of the improvement of didactics must be to make didactics as easy and rational and flexible as possible, so that students can spend the right time for it without abandoning the other important aspects of their lives as complete human beings.
Yeah, I completely agree. If either of you disagree with something the other has said, or if you want to ask a question to the other candidates, you're free to do it now. Or...
I will just comment 1 second on what Lorenzo just said, because like I believe even if we are different team, like we can work together, and if we have the same goal, that is actually making life easier for students and make them feel better at university, it will be a pleasure to work on these points, because like we believe everything we do is actually has the aim to make students well-being greater, and to kind of help them to leave a bit of stress and also be a bit more feel a little bit better. Because I mean, sometimes university is stressing, and also COVID demonstrated that life sometimes is much more difficult, and also in unexpected time, and we want to take care of this. So this is mainly like why most of us do want to be a representative. We hope to help other students, and we hope to make a better community that actually really take into account all the problems students have beside the mere academic part.
Yes, I would like also to thank Bocconi TV and Maria Francesca for this debate, because even though I don't agree with the points of the program and with the general vision.
Which points of the program?
Yeah,
we want to spice it up.
Actually.
Yes, even though I do not agree, I don't think that the program and the general vision that she expressed is the best solution for students, because I think that the best solution is the program of BLab. However, I respect that program and that vision, because in a democratic and pluralist environment such as the Bocconi one, it is fundamental that the opponents respect each other, even though they do not agree with each other. And if I can ask a question or make an observation to Maria Francesca, I would say that sometimes it seems to me that your representative association is always very active during the days just before the elections, and makes its voice heard in the social networks, for example. However, it seems to me that it is quite absent during the academic year in the everyday lives of Bocconi students, whereas we as BLab try to be by the side of students in every moment. So I would ask Maria if this is true and why this happens, or maybe it is only my impression.
Well, I mean, I think it is interesting. Also, one thing for sure, BLab is at university since much more time than team, and so it is much more structured, and it has more members. Also because of this, team is a relatively new reality compared to BLab. So this is of course a disadvantage for us. But I mean, it is also true that me being a member of team now, I mean, we see more what we do internally than what we actually share on social media. What I can assure you is that since when I joined team, I see that they really focus on long-term and really ambitious objectives. We have been writing a report on mental illness. We are really focused on things such as diversity, which are actually really difficult to be tackled. So for this reason, maybe we seem to be less present on social media, maybe sharing, I don't know, notes or stuff, because like we are less, we know that. You're like, I don't know how many people are in BLab, but for sure more than team. But I mean, we are working on serious long-term objectives that we believe are fundamental to be tackled by universities. We also had an event yesterday with Professor De Vries on diversity and inclusion, which are things to be addressed, and the sooner is better.
Okay, good question and good answer. If you want to say something else, otherwise we will wrap it up. So
I will just be quick. Like,
yes.
You say that you don't agree on the points, but I mean, honestly, I don't want to just be, we are two different teams, so we don't have to agree between each other. I mean, we are bringing some common points on which we can also work together in the future. Like, is there any particular point on which you don't actually agree, or like you totally don't like, you feel it is totally diverse from what you are presenting?
Actually, I think that the intentions that lays behind the points you presented are shareable, and they share with our points the final aim that is to meet the needs of students. However, as I said before, the single points is not enough. There is also the general view of the university and the general behavior of the representative association in the everyday life of students. So if there is a point which is good, but then one knows that it probably will not be realized, this is not so useful. The fact that, as you said, Bocconi has a great number, has a larger number of members and a larger number of years behind it, I think is a point of strength and not a point of weakness for BLab, because this could be a way to have always a point of reference in older students that already faced some problem, already tried to solve them, and can suggest us about the way we can finally solve them.
Yeah, of course, it is not a weakness. I didn't mean that. We are also working with the aim of being a very longev association. So thank you for your answer.
Thank you for your question and answers.
Okay, thank you both. Great. I remind to our viewers once again that you will find the registration of this debate here on this same YouTube channel, and you can also read the resume of what Maria Francesca and Lorenzo has said on the Tre Leoni website. Later today at 6:30 p.m. we will host yet another debate with the undergraduate candidates, and yes, so we hope to see you later, and thanks everyone who has followed us live or will watch the video later today or in the next days. Thank you, Maria Francesca, thank you, Lorenzo, very much, and good luck to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity, and goodbye to everyone.
Yeah,
thank you for your time as well.
And yours. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.